So that email I sent over.
Yeah, thought it was really great.
Yeah, it was cool that I was able to personalize it, but now I've got to go after marketing personas. So I wanted to ask you, when I'm talking to these marketing personas, what are some things that, if you were a marketing executive at a fast-growing company, what are some things that would kind of keep you up at night that you could, that I could use in my messaging that would really resonate with you?
So what are the things that keep me up at night as a marketing exec? I'd say there's probably three big buckets. The first one is always, generating enough leads for the sales team for you guys to follow up on, but also making sure that it's balanced with quality leads. Because getting that balance between quality and quantity right is it's a never-ending battle and struggle, and so we're constantly focused on that. So I think that's number one. Number two is data quality. So, the other thing is when we get the information on those leads, making sure that we've got good data so that you guys can follow up on them. If we've got bad data, if we've got, the wrong people with the wrong titles at the wrong companies, it's just frustrating for everybody. It's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You probably have done that, right?
Been there before.
So I think that's number two. And then I think number three is just figuring out where are new big growth markets, right? So as a marketing executive, I'm constantly thinking where's the next place that we can find people who are interested, who would find value in our solution that maybe we haven't even thought of previously. So I'd say those are kind of the three big pain points that I think about.
Okay, so having the right information at the right time and being able to move the needle. Okay, so when I do have these things in mind here, what are some ways that I can get my message to really resonate well with marketing executives? What's a good way of getting that to resonate?
That's a great question. So I think the first thing you have to understand is that the marketing budget is either the first or second biggest budget in the company, usually either right under IT or right over the IT budget. That means we have a lot of money to spend discretionarily, right? But ultimately we have to prove ROI on that, because it also means that the first place that a CEO or a CFO is going to look to cut money is the marketing budget as well. And the thing about marketing is that we touch the customer at so many different places in the life cycle. So we're touching them way before they ever are interested in the product. We're touching them when they're interested in the product. We're touching them after they become a customer. And so being able to prove the ROI of all of these different programs and investments can be really complicated and really difficult. So if you can really clearly and succinctly tell me how I'm going to generate an ROI with the product that you're selling, that's going to capture my attention. And I think the other thing to know is that you're competing with 5,000 other marketing technologies out there. So you just have to catch my attention and help me understand how it's going to really drive the bottom line.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So I know that there's a lot of different messaging that you can send out, and that's all great information to have. I'm curious, what are some things or I guess some messaging techniques that work well with salespeople that don't necessarily work well with marketing executives? Like if you were to get an email that comes in or a phone call, and it just sounds really salesy and you don't like that messaging, what are some of those things look like?
Yeah. So you guys always, you typically sell to salespeople historically, right? So there's a couple of things that I think work really well when you're selling to salespeople that don't work well when you're selling to marketing. I've gotten those emails that say, hey, can you just help me hit my quota this quarter? That's not my job. My job is not to help you hit your quota. You may understand that pain, as a sales guy, and I certainly understand it, but that sort of approach, I think that might work more with sales buyers, doesn't work as much with marketing buyers. I think the other thing is where it's overtly salesy and sort of aggressive. I've gotten the voicemails where it's call me back right away, I've got this on sale right now, and I'm just that's it, again, it might work with a salesperson, I don't know, maybe not. It doesn't work with me. I think the thing that works really well with me is give me some really solid information about the value you're going to provide, point me to some resource that I can look at, maybe a third-party resource that I can look at to understand what your solution is doing. Maybe even connect me up with somebody else that you've helped similarly.
Okay.
That to me is a really great approach.
That makes sense. Okay. That's great. Yeah, being able to understand what's important to you guys and being able to understand what you care about, and then creating the messaging that that resonates well and that comes off the way that it should be to
Yeah.
to different personas. It's great.
That's exactly right.
great.
And thank
Okay.
you. Like I love the fact that you kind of reached out and
Yeah.
asked the question. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
no problem.
seeing what the results are too.
Yeah.